Hi, this is GMac for the Razor Company, and today's video will be focused on a razor that I absolutely love, and that is probably my number one razor among all those that I own. So, simple question, what do you get when you take an art director with Tom Banner Studios, somebody who's a senior with 3D art design, a YouTuber, a wet shaving enthusiast, a martial arts instructor in Toronto, and you put that all together, and then this talented individual decides to launch a razor company, design his own razors, and razors that will be made such that they have really good efficiency, but yet are smooth. I mean, that's the aim of every artisan, isn't it? Who creates razors or who manufactures razors. So let's get straight into the brand itself. I'm talking about Aylsworth, and the lad, of course, in focus is Kaleb Aylsworth. I'm a very big fan of Kaleb Aylsworth for the simple reason that even though he's had his own brand and he's got rivals, and every time he features a razor from a rival brand, he does not criticize it. There's never a critique. It's always appreciation, and he reviews it just as any wet shaving enthusiast would, and not like a brand owner. And I absolutely love that about him. Had a chat with him a while back when I was, asking him about whether I should get a standard plate for the razor that I have, or I should stick with the original, which was a plus plate. And I discovered that he's an extremely humble, very friendly, really, really nice lad. So let's get straight to the razor itself. The razor today in focus will be the Apex stainless steel. This is absolutely my number one razor. Everybody has a number one. It could be the Blackbird, it could be a Lameda Athena, it could be any razor, it could be a Mueller R41, GS, which is the stainless steel. For me, this is my number one razor. It's an absolutely stunning razor. Just to look at it, I do love the design, the curve. It's a three-sided head, as you can see. I really don't know what this does, but this kind of provides an intuitive angle, and because it's not sloping but it's curved, it kind of makes it very comfortable and smooth on the face. Just going to give you a view of that. This is a 0.99 blade gap. Let me talk a little bit about the razor itself. So when Aylsworth launched their first design, that was the Drakkant, and it was a razor that was well accepted because it had a beautiful design. It was slightly mild, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to get I think it was a 0.73 millimeter blade gap, and the exposure was about 0.025 or 0.29. A lot of shavers did like it, but also found it a little bit mild, but the design was really, really fantastic. So Kaleb Aylsworth, of course, then did change that around and launched the plus plate, and that went through the roof. The Drakkant became an iconic razor. He also introduced the titanium razor, which was then, it's sold out, and recently he did another run of it, which would be the last run ever. I think it was just 25 razors. So the Drakkant was machined by Jacob Yates, and Jacob and Ashley Yates are good friends of Kaleb, and ever since they got back to regular jobs, and with the focus now being mainly on Yates precision, the Drakkant bid us a goodbye. So if you do find a stainless steel Drakkant or a TI, pick it up blindly. It's an absolutely fantastic piece to own. Having said that, I did like the Drakkant. I also like the the brass version, which was the Pur-Tec, for its design and its smoothness. I thought it was just kind of a little bit mild for me. And then, of course, along came the aluminium Apex, and that, of course, was in a 0.7 millimeter blade gap. It had 0.05 m exposure, very light. It was about 35 grams. But that razor did so well, and it took on a lot of other brands that were offering quality aluminum razors. And that's when the bigger brother came out, the Apex. Now, the Apex stainless steel, let me tell you a little bit about it. So this is a 0.99 blade gap, 0.125 exposure, blade exposure, machined, satin, and electropolished. Those are the three finishes you get. Mine is a satin. This is how it originally came out. I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm not one for shiny, high polished razors because they get surface scratches. Absolutely love this, and this works beautifully for me. The total weight of this razor is about 106 grams, 89 millimeters in height. It's just perfect, absolutely perfect. And 316 stainless steel, considered the big brother to the Apex aluminum or aluminium. So here it is, the Apex, and let's get straight down to the shave. Today for my other gear, I'll be using the Phoenix Artist Accoutrements, so the PAA CAD sample, just to give you a look at what it looks like. It's almost like a crope. It is actually a crope. It's kind of soft. And the blade I'll be using, of course, is a Polsilver Super Iridium. That's my first ever use with this blade. I found a dealer who had about 100 of these blades, and then he told me that he would give me a few spares so that I could try it out, because the Vizimet Super Iridium, of course, which came later, is my absolute favorite. It's my go-to blade. But he said he'll give me, a few spares to try out, and he gave me one. So I'm going to try and make the most of it. So this is my first shave with the Polsilver. And for my, bowl, I'll be using the Oaken Lab ceramic. For my brush, I'm going with the Frank Shaving Pur-Tec Pro. Absolutely love this brush. I've got a bit of a lather going, so I'm going to get started straight with that. Let's also load, the blade into the razor. And just to give you a look at what it looks like, handle. That's the, base plate. Top cap. It all locks in beautifully. The blade alignment is spot on. The clamping is fantastic. And I do remember I had the opportunity to shave with a couple of razors that my friends were offering, but then I was trying to decide on which razor to pick up, and a lot of people call this razor the Carve Overlander on steroids. A lot of them call it a very efficient razor, only meant for 2 or 3 days shave. I don't think so. I think that this is a razor that I can use as a daily driver. You can dial it up or down. Maybe for daily shaves, I would probably use a washcord or a Gillette Platinum. I'd go with a Vizimet for 2 days stubble. I've taken down 6 and 7 days stubble with ease, and that too, just 2 passes. So let's get straight down to the shave. This Phoenix Shaving or PAA soap never fails to amaze me. I'm using CAD today, or you can call it CAD. Always a nice creamy lather from it. And let's lather up. A lot of the time, when new artisans come up with razors, and then, they have machinists who really do it for them. And I do believe that, Yates, as a machinist, as an artisan himself, Jacob Yates is fantastic, and he and Ashley Yates have done a great job of all the razors that they've been turning. I love their razors. What I do love about Kaleb and with Aylsworth is his design, and it's a very personal thing. You could have a razor. You could have the Gillette Hybrid Tech as your favorite razor. You could have maybe even the Mueller R89, which used to be one of my favorites. Got a bit of cream. So you could have any razor which you really like, and that's really a personal preference. I don't think that has anything to... Oh, the soap smells fantastic. It's a very kind of, out of the shower, sporty kind of fragrance. And it's one of the reasons I've noticed that the CAD or CAD, it always, sells out at most places. It's a fragrance that everyone will like. There's, some people do not like woody, some people do not like fruity. But this is a fragrance, it's a bit like a gentleman's cologne. It's what probably, you'd wear after playing a game of tennis or a round of golf and you've had a shower and come out. So I'm just going to, start with the first pass itself. did not want to waste too much of time yapping like I normally do. So here we go with the first pass. So I was actually in conversation with Kaleb to try and find out if, you know, there was going to be a new version of the Drakkant, or, you know, was he going to do it again with a new machinist? And he said, you know, that remains with Yates. You know, it's kind of a mark of respect for what Jacob did for him. So he retired the Drakkant. This is an absolutely smooth razor. It's got an intuitive, you know, head, so you don't really need to find the angle. It just comes naturally. And I think that's fantastic when, you know, you have an artisan who, I mean, to be fair, when, you know, Shane of Blackland Razors retired the era, he did that too, you know, as a mark of respect, and he was doing it through another 3D, you know, printing expert, and he decided to retire that razor. Sometimes it's a mark of respect for the one who's, you know, been with you through that journey. And I think for the Drakkant, it was Yates who was with Kaleb on that journey. So if you do get your hands on a Drakkant, pick it up. But for me, my number one razor and my number one Aylsworth razor will always be the Apex. Probably if, you know, Kaleb decides to come out with a titanium Apex, I'll pick it up. So the idea is that since the Drakkant won't be around, is Kaleb going to be designing a new razor? The answer is yes. It'll be different from the Drakkant. Maybe it might have a few similarities, but not the design for certain. It might be an even more efficient shaver. But I think, you know, even though, strangely, even though this razor says 0.99, I've shaved with a Wolfman 1.55, and I can tell you the efficiency is just similar. The difference, I mean, that's a smooth razor too. It's got a huge blade gap with minimal blade exposure. But, you know, take your money's worth, you know, take your money's worth. I'm not saying count your pennies, but stretch your dollar. And that's where the Apex comes in. If you feel that 0.99 is a bit too much for you, you can actually get the, you know, the aluminum. And go to the razor company because, well, the Phoenix shaving soap, well, that's there. They've got the whole range right now before it sells out, you know. Go and take a look. I'm not saying this to promote, you know, TRC, but TRC, even before, well, I was, you know, doing videos for them, they were always my favorite sellers because of the price point. Great price point, great prices on shipping, fantastic offers, and they have heart, real heart. You look at some of the initiatives, they're never alone, unstoppable. They're a great, excellent team. Jason's a super guy. Jason, of course, owns the razor company. I have to say the soap is absolutely fantastic. It's really fantastic. I did not like Blue Death, if I'm not mistaken, by PAA, but the CAD, oh, it's brilliant. It's got like a bit of a powdery dry down. Really nice. Quick rinse and we'll be back with the second pass. Let's get on to the second pass, and just want to remind you that in case you do want to get the Aylsworth Apex in aluminum with that, you know, lighter or less blade gap, it's available at the razor company. You can also well, look out for the black one, which will be launched fully, kind of stealth mode. Well, don't forget that the Drakkant, actually, keeping in mind the fact that, Kaleb was a 3D senior lead designer. He's worked on, games. And if I'm not mistaken, I was going to read this, look at this, but Skyrim, that was the inspiration for the Drakkant design, the Skyrim game. I don't know if you're a gamer, but I am. Used to be, actually. World of Warcraft, Assassin's Creed, and God of War. Don't really get the time nowadays to game. That happens to all of us, but I've had my fair share of it. I absolutely support all gamers, except those that go on a binge for, days together. Not in favor of that. Something about the PA soaps, real quality. So if you want to get yourself, one of those Aylsworth razors, go to the razor company and have a look. They've got great deals. But if you want to get the best one, get the Apex stainless steel. I absolutely adore it. And I was telling Kaleb that, I said, it's my favorite razor. It's just super smooth. I always thought, I'm not comparing, but I always thought the Carve Overlander, and you know what Carve does with their Christopher Bradley, absolutely phenomenal razors. They're great to own, last a lifetime, look beautiful. I always felt the Overlander was a great razor, but it just was a tad bit too mild for me. Some people actually love it. They call it the Goatlander. And there's a reason for it. It's a great razor, but when somebody said that the Apex stainless steel was like the Overlander on steroids, I believe that. It's very, very smooth, but it's very efficient. For me, this is a 2-pass razor, a 2-pass BBS razor. That's how good it gets. A lot of wet shavers have their own preferences, as I said. Some, of course, prefer to have straight razors. Some prefer to have... Oh, that's smooth. This razor just cleans out everything. I don't know how Kaleb got this design down. It's very similar to a couple of razors. If you look at the design, like the base plate looks like it looks like a blackbird on a diet. That base plate. Not exactly, but similar to it. And this is not something that Kaleb has, copied or been inspired by. This is his original design. But it just shaves so beautifully. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, if I had one razor left, it would be the Apex SS. I just love the way it's so comfortable and smooth when you're, going over the stubble. But don't get me wrong, it needs a light touch. And if you are a newbie, you just transitioned from cartridge to de-shaving, I would say exercise a bit of caution. This is such a smooth razor. It's deceptively smooth. That's the right term for it. Deceptively smooth. You won't even notice when you've cut or nicked yourself. So go with a light touch and just let the razor do its work. It's a fantastic, fantastic design. It's really one of the best razors I've ever shaved with. And for me, as I said, my number one. Different people have different needs. Some people prefer adjustables because they want to, change the aggression and the blade gap. I'm not a fan of adjustables. I prefer having a nice, easy 3-piece razor. Maybe I'm just a bit lazy. And I don't need to dial up or down with the blade gaps. It's unbelievable how this razor works, isn't it? And especially if you've mapped out your face and you know the direction of your growth, it's just outstanding. Sometimes finding a razor that suits you perfectly, that is, perfect for your needs, and each one has their own individual needs, is not an easy thing. Sometimes it takes years to actually find one. And hey, I'm not a celebrity shaver or anything like that. I'm just a normal guy like you that, loves to shave and share his shave. So quick rinse, and then let's get down to the post shave and a little bit on the razor itself once more. So quick rub of the alum. I'm going to caution you about one thing. Every time you use the Apex SS, it's going to burn with the alum stone, and there's a reason for it, because the razor shaves so close. So for me, I can actually skip shaving tomorrow, and the shave lasts for a good 16 to 18 hours, and I can very safely shave the day after, and that works perfectly for me because your skin gets a bit of a chance to rest rather than you traumatize it or tax it. So very quickly, before I get to the post shave itself, let me remind you of the bits that I use. I use the Polsilver Super Iridium, nice blade. I'm still a fan of the Wizomet, but the Polsilver is absolutely nice. It's smooth, it's sharp. If you find a dealer who's giving you spares, ask them for a tuck, not for a single blade. That seller was a Scrooge. I would freely give a tuck away, even if I wasn't selling blades. I mean, I don't sell them, but I just give, a few tucks to my friends. The Phoenix Artist Accoutrements sample, I'm probably going to do a special on samples and tell you the value of that. For the bowl, I went with the Oaken Lab ceramic. My brush today was the Frank Shaving Pur-Tec Pro, and that's a 24mm G9 as they call it. The main razor for today was the Apex stainless steel. Once again, I'm going to say this, the best razor I've ever used, my number one razor, my favorite razor, Kaleb Aylsworth. Thank you, buddy. You created something very, very special. And even though this razor was machined in Asia and not in the United States, this is perfection. Perfection in metal. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Kaleb, as I said. I'm a big fan of his razors. And you can get while there's still stock of it, go to the razor company and pick it up. That's the Aylsworth Apex, beautiful, design. Some people would say it looks a bit industrial. It doesn't. It looks very regal. It looks rock solid. It looks like something, a warrior would carry in his backpack. So that's pretty much it for the shave today. I'm going to do a quick rinse to take off the alum and have the post shave on. Also, keep a lookout for the fact that, Aylsworth will be coming out with a new razor very soon, a new design. They've also got 2 shaving soaps that are available on with the razor company. You might want to look at that. Everything that Kaleb Aylsworth does, he does with passion as a wet shaver. It's not commercial. There's a lot of heart in it. Most of the artisans, but So go check it out at the razor company. I'm going with Tabac, very old school. Love it. And that was the post shave. I do hope you enjoyed, sharing this time with me and watching the video. I do hope I bring you some joy. And if you have any comments or if you have any feedback, you can always send it across to the razor company. Go get yourself an Aylsworth razor. They're absolutely fantastic. Great value for money. As I said, my favorite razor among all that I own, and I have quite a few, is the Apex stainless steel. And on behalf of the razor company and from me, GMAC, it's time to shut shop and ship out of here. And I'll catch you again with a new video really soon. Till then, you stay well, take care of yourself and your family, and bye-bye for now.